Yo, what is good, my anime faithful? What is good, yo? I made this video already, but hopefully I can capture some of the same excitement that I had for this episode. But our compulsive gambler season 2 is kicking off relatively quickly, and by just quickly, I mean there hasn't really been a dull point in the episode besides maybe the weird transaction towards telling us, like, oh, here's a gambling scene, and then all of a sudden we're also watching, like, it started out with the gamble, but then the next week's episode, it starts out with teaching us how this gamble even came about. So I thought that was a weird way to introduce us into like the very, very first episode, and then season 2 was the one to actually cover up what the next part was. So I thought that was an interesting approach, and not only that, when it got to that part, it just like jumped into it. It was just like, okay, and now we are doing this. Like, here you go. And then they just hop right back to where it started off. Like, it didn't explain everything about the battle from episode 1, but they did go far enough to show us that. So I thought that was an interesting way of just going about telling the first couple episodes. Not to mention that the president has already kind of like withdrew her presidency, and not only did she do that, she brought in a whole bunch of just like broken people that can easily cause problems for the rest of the people who pretty much just actually were playing fair in the sense of actually making the gambles not completely almost unwinnable by default. So, and I only say that because with this week's episode, seeing the girls go out of their way to pretty much poison their competitors before the fight even starts was pretty outlandish to me. I was just like, really, bro? Like, they're really on that. And to be fair, like, I understand they want to win by any means necessary, but to literally poison your opponent before the fight's even started, that is so dirty. Not to mention, after you get poisoned, the people who know about you getting poisoned are just like, oh yeah, yeah, that was gonna happen because it happened outside of the gambling, so it's fair game. Sorry, you have to deal with it. Like that's pretty much it. Like, there's not much more she can do about you getting poisoned outside of where the match is actually taking place. So by default, you lose. Like, better luck next time. I thought that was so messed up, man. But hey, we get to see quite a bit of these new characters quite quickly. I mean, we even got to see the person who's supposedly not even a gambler, like, flirting or so. I don't know what the heck she was doing. Like, she could see that gambling was destroying some of the people in the school in the sense of like just making them act as people maybe that they wouldn't normally be if they weren't gambling and stuff like that. So it was kind of nice to see that that was where they were going with that. Like, she not only is someone that's dealing with so many different gamblers and whatnot, she actually herself probably either went too far in gambling herself, and she also knows what she felt like or what she was doing as a gambler to be able to talk about it as the way she does. I'm talking about the girl with the glasses who keeps like introducing all the matches, and she pretty much like she's like, I am not a gambler, I am just here to help the family, but seemingly she probably is the main leader of it all. She's probably the evilest person of them all or something. That's just how these shows usually like to hide their characters in plain sight. Like, oh, she told you she wasn't the bad person, but here she is. She might be the bad person. Um, or it might be a dude. Who knows? With these shows nowadays, anything's possible. I love that aspect of anime is they really go with whatever they want, and when they do it, either gotta accept it and stop watching, or accept it and keep watching. Like it's all on you if you hate it or love it. So that's really cool part of this community and just anime as a whole, because none of it's gonna be quote unquote the norm or like normal in general. So it's like, okay, well, do you like it or do you hate it? And if you hate it, why are you still watching it? But the one thing I was talking about in my previous video I made about this was the eyes in this show is so like attention based. Like there's so much like detail going in the eyes alone that it was something I talked about in my previous review about the show, how much I enjoy them and stuff like that. I just hope that my enjoyment of it can also be other people's, because I mean they are going in with the eyes. Like I think every week we're gonna see a new type of eye design that they come up with. Like that's just how much faith I have in how much I've seen. Like they are eye crazy, and there's nothing really bad about that. It's just I feel like after I said it, it almost came up even more um, than I remembered it. So I don't know. Maybe that's just me, but I still enjoyed it. I mean, that's why I was saying I hope you guys can have the same enjoyment about the eyes as I do, because that is heavily part of the show. Just having some ridiculous looking eyes that almost make you uncomfortable if they were staring at you, and probably would make you afraid to ever do anything wrong in front of those types of eyes. So I don't know. Might just be me on that one. But other than that, though, we get to just see with the poisoning being one of this girl's like main ways of gambling, and like doing it in a manner where it's already like, oh well, you were outside of the gambling zone when it happened, so I'm clearly the winner. And that's also like at the very beginning of the episode, we see someone pass out. Clearly, that was the same case with, she somehow touched her or hugged her or said something and let her drink something, anything of those types of stuff that can poison you. And next thing you know, you're, you know, you're playing the game and you're completely fainting. Or like our girl, my waifu this week, she straight up had a fever, and she was just like her whole body was heating up. So if they're gonna try to take out my main girl just by poisoning her, you got something else coming. She has an ability to transfer her mind to other people. Nah, but that's what it feels like when the guy goes into like all crazy girl mode, where he's about to just gamble his life away for all of them. And I mean, he couldn't have picked a better time. My blonde wifey showing up at the time that she did, even though she's being manipulated and used by the carbon paste copy of the president. Oh, I can't even go in this place. Okay. It's nice to see that she is supposedly gonna be a new, like, her own character. Oh, what the heck? Oh, that is sick. But with her being the way that she is, the vice president, it made a lot of sense why they played the card that they played this week. Like, she probably did have 100 votes, and she probably would have got challenged by any of the people who were just transferred in there. But by her knowing and witnessing matches and people who shouldn't have a chance against certain other people, it probably was clear to her that she would have a better chance with all of her 100 votes in someone else's pocket. Not to mention, if she does do this, she might get something out of it herself. So it came down to, like, she seemed really, she's just being greedy at this point. But at the same time, she's just saving her own neck, like anybody who would in this show. Like, everybody wants to pretty much be safe, and if you can do that by putting all your fate into someone else and letting them do your gambling because they have more potential in it and they have more drive for it, then why not? That's a gamble. That's the whole point of this school. And that's the really cool part of it, and how they're playing off of this is they're putting all of these different things out there. So once it starts to continue to build up the show this way, in the sense of, hey, we can put anyone out there and you'll enjoy it, is kind of what I'm understanding here, and I like about the show. So very, very good start for this first season and second season for me with the show that's about gambling. Not to mention that this second season has non-stop like matches in it. So if that is the case and they keep going this way, we'll have a lot to watch when it comes down to the overall arcing of this season, because I feel like it's just not going to stop with these battles. I mean, the most that we're going to see stop right now is giving the antidote. Giving the antidote to somebody. His character art looks so good. He looks like he's high as hell, the guy at the bottom. um, but yeah, I honestly don't know if the show's gonna just be gamble, 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 gamble. I mean, our main girl is poisoned, but they have the antidote already, one shot, and then the next day they can be gambling again. Seeing how there's this votes, these chips, that's what makes the gambling that much easier for the show, to just throw it out there and be like, hey, we're going to give you this character, and once you get this character, or like, not character, but we're going to give you this concept of what this character is bringing about, and because of it, you now have to pretty much, you got to deal with it. And by dealing with it, they literally mean you got to straight up fight everybody who might want your vote, might want anything that you have. So with that being said, I honestly can't wait to see what happens. I mean, to be fair, no one really can tell how these gamblings are gonna work out sometimes, just by, hold on, okay, there you go. Just by looking at the match and stuff like that. So hopefully this one plays out in a very fun way, in the sense of things that I don't expect to see happening or something along those lines. So yeah. Ooh. Whatever. But yeah, with that, my anime people, I hope you guys have a good day, night, evening, whatever it is the case for you. Sorry this video is late. I had this video done yesternight, and for some reason it got just messed up. So hopefully it doesn't happen again, and I can get this video out to you. And if it does mess up, you won't even see this video because it's messed up. So with that, everybody, I hope you have a good one, and I will talk to you later. Alright, everybody. Peace.